This is All India Radio Delhi. This is All India Radio. We now present the science serial Welcome Tomorrow. All India Radio, in collaboration with Vigyan Prasar, presents the 19th episode of the science serial Welcome Tomorrow. In this special episode of our science serial, we present an interaction with Dr. Nakul Parashar and Dr. Birendra Kumar Tyagi. Talking to them is Manoj Mayankar.
Welcome to this special episode of our series based on artificial intelligence and its various facets, which is titled Welcome Tomorrow. And it's, like always, it's a pleasure to welcome Dr. Nakul Parashar, Director Vigyan Prasar, and along with him, Dr. B.K. Tyagi. This is going to be a slightly different episode in that sense of the term, because I'm sure all you listeners must be expectantly awaiting the announcement of the names of the winners, people who answered questions correctly in various episodes of the series on artificial intelligence. The wait is finally over. Dr. Tyagi, how do you want this episode to be segmented?
Okay.
It's a special episode.
Yeah, I think we in this episode we will take the issues which we have covered up to the 13th episodes of Welcome Tomorrow. It was you can say these two segments of this entire planning was on introductory or giving a basic introduction of about artificial intelligence,
right,
and how it has already become a part and parcel of our life. We don't know much about it, but we are already using it. So just to connect with that, so entire all these 13 episodes were based on that basic concept, like what is AI, why we are calling it the fourth industrial revolution, what is the speech recognition, handwriting recognition, and etc., which are already part and parcel of our life. So what science has gone into that, we try to explain it with the help of sometime with a story which was more of a science fiction, where there was a situation which has been solved using AI. Like there was an episode on handwriting recognition. So we know like a lot of frauds on like banks are happening
on checks,
fake signature and all that. So how AI can help us in finding whether the signature is fake or genuine. So same is about the speech recognition and all that. So in all these 13 episodes we use that the basic introduction. They were in the form of a basic introduction. After that we have gone slightly deeper and deeper into the subject area of AI.
Slightly more advanced?
Yeah, more
would
advanced.
You say? Okay.
Yeah. I think, and also the second purpose was of this episode to announce the name of our winners, because we have a 2 question at the end of each episode, and if our listener has listening the program very carefully, the answer is somewhere hidden in the script itself. So we thought, let's test the not only the understanding part, but
the skill
carefully they are listening our program. Yeah, so that's the whole idea.
Okay, Dr. Parashar, there must be certain questions, connected with these episodes, whose answer does not come across as very objective and factual.
Yeah.
It could involve possibly more study or more observing things around you and forming an opinion kind of a thing on what as a student who's answering competitive exams would say, subjective answer.
There is one more thing, like when we started, because this is an area which is growing every day. New things are coming up. So now it's an 8-month gap. And since then, a lot of things has, new things has happened. So whatever the answer which we were having at that time, it requires some more addition to.
Has it actually happened? Have things happened in the last 8 months in the field of AI?
Oh yes, very much. Artificial intelligence, for that matter, is changing so rapidly that it won't be an exaggeration if we said that things are changing with a wink of an eye. So, with such a rapid pace that we are all encountering in our lives, in our daily, in any domain that you talk about, any domain that you venture into, you would find that things are changing rapidly. And the credit for all of this goes to our requirements and necessities that are coming up. What had happened was earlier, when artificial intelligence or the so-called expert systems came into picture, our requirements and needs were very simple. We thought we could automate certain diagnostic properties, we could get into medical science and do some prognosis, or try to make life simpler by writing some codes that could do away with the longer codes. Things have changed rapidly, as I said, and are changing rapidly to an extent that the robots that we thought were only mechanical in nature are now getting into the cognitive way as well. So they're thinking.
That's scary. That's
they're
scary.
so I mean, it's something like that. While we are sitting, discussing, talking to each other, the day is not going to be too far when the machine or a robot sitting would read your mind as well, and would get to a point and start predicting what you are trying to do. So this is something that's not going to matter in daily lives, but also in the state of art of warfare. So you would know your opponent's moves. So this is something that we already have seen in the gaming applications of artificial intelligence. Similarly, if we talk about handwriting recognition that came up, that has also gotten to quite an extent where things have matured to a very high extent. So the degree of efficiency and accuracy that we are trying to achieve started from somewhere about 40-42% and has now reached to 80%. And we all know that reaching from 0 to 80 becomes easy, but as you move from 80 to towards 100, every single percent or a fraction of a percentage becomes difficult and tougher, because you've already achieved the macro part of it, and as you delve deeper into it, as you get into the micro part of your achieving the accuracy, it becomes tougher. So getting 80 is easy, 80 to 81 is less easy, and from 81 to 82 becomes much more tougher. So this is
In
how,
that progression.
in that progression. So it's very interesting that this is how things are rapidly unfolding.
But tell me something, I'm asking this question to both of you. From what you said, it now seems to me that as we move ahead in our journey of this series that we're doing on artificial intelligence, we'll have to cope up very fast with. So does that mean that along with advances in artificial intelligence, is normal human intelligence also on an upswing? Because I noticed the moment I started scribbling something on this little piece of paper that I make my notes on, you made an observation. It was a very humanly intelligent observation on my cool background, say 45 years ago. So is the human mind also keeping pace with, or there's a wide chasm between some minds,
Yeah. So I would say yes. Necessity is the mother of invention, and as you get deeper into it, you are pushed towards the wall. And human mind is now being pushed towards the wall. So the more you push your human minds, it is supposed to act much smarter, much better. It is now in race with the artificial intelligence. So as a result, what has happened is you need to sharpen your, not only your pencils but your mind much more than what a machine could do. And in this regard, I have a small example to quote. I recall when I first started my tryst with artificial intelligence, I had problems. I had situations where I had to write codes for it, and my code length was say about 2,000 lines or 3,000 lines. But now, as I've gotten deeper into it, I find that my fellow team members, right, are forced to write codes not less than thousands of lines. So it clearly indicates either the libraries are getting much more polished and sharpened, and this happens only when you're forced to think beyond or faster than the machines would do.
I'm no science fiction writer, but I'm scared of a perceived scenario where a robot friend of mine would, pick my pocket and I take him to the police station and the court.
Okay, that may be a science fiction, but in reality, this Beethoven has left one of his symphony. It was not complete. So now it has been completed with the help of AI. This is the one example you can see, filling that gap. Going to the mind of what he might be thinking, and he was trying to compose. That has been completed with the help of AI. And second was like a few of the recent Hollywood script has been written through the help of AI. So we have already reached where you're asking about the human mind, but I don't think like in any way any robot or through AI we can surpass the human intelligence, because coding or the basic programming is done by human beings. There may be
The puppeteer is somebody else.
Yes. I think so that point of what generally is called singularity, reaching to that stage, to me it appears to be a very distant dream. Human will always remain, the supreme.
Let's hope so.
I agree with what Dr. Tyagi says, because in any case, in a term of science and technology as well, even the so-called vacuum is an ideal state. An ideal state is something which is not achievable in a sense. No matter what, you'll still have fraction of seconds and fractions of things that you still need to attend to, which of course is only in the realms of the human mind.
Both of you, let's come back to our bread and butter and actually start the much awaited response that our listeners have been waiting for.
Okay, I think I'm announcing the name now because of like the up to the 13 episode. So I would first of all I would like to mention that few of our listener has not mentioned their
The
postal
addresses,
address.
yes, we've touched upon this point
answer
multiple
which
times.
we have received through email, it has only email ID. So if we have to send them their prices, I think we need their complete postal address with PIN code and their phone numbers, so that in case any difficulty.
Please listen to this carefully, listeners. This is for your own benefit.
Yeah.
Whenever you send in a response, by either letter or email, do mention your full residential address also. How will we know otherwise?
Absolutely.
So this is Ullas Baral from Delhi, Masjid Mode, New Delhi. Then Raksha Tanwar. Then third is Kumar Abhishek and Navendu Kashyap and Gangaram Sahu. He is from Chhattisgarh. And Manendra Sahu also from Chhattisgarh. Rajesh Kumar is from Hamirpur, Himachal. And Vinod Mahajan again from Delhi, but he has not given his address. And Preeti Tiwari and Rakesh Chandra Joshi, both of them has also not given their address. And few more is this Shivendu Paul, Murshidabad, West Bengal, and they have a Mithali Listeners Club. So they are listening.
Oh, that's wonderful. Together.
Together. And Sayyid Navi Ullas village Dhavendrama Nalwari, Assam. This is from Assam. And Prakash Jaiswal, Sikandrabad. And Sudha Baral, again Masjid Mode, Delhi. And Atulit Chaudhary, Darbhanga, Bihar. And Navendra Kashyap, this is from Uttam Nagar, again from Delhi. And Kumar Abhishek, I think I have already, and Manendu Sahu, I have already announced. So these are the names which we have selected through a lucky draw and they are entitled for a prize, special prize, surprise prize, I should say.
So
and,
applause for them.
And one more thing, because we have also requesting our listeners that it is not only that you can get a prize by answering the question. If you can ask a question from our expert about the AI, and your question is such that it is included in the program, again you are entitled for a prize.
That's wonderful. Wonderful. So listeners, please note that it's not just that you answer questions asked by us, but even you can ask questions to us, our experts, and there too you stand a chance of winning a prize. So make a note of it.
There's a one question, generally they say like we are going for automation. This is a question to Dr. Parasar. And how we are like trying to connect or creating you can say bonding between AI and automation. Sir, can you explain to our listeners?
Sure. Just before that, automation in a particular field or automation in general?
No, it's in general.
Okay.
And how the AI will provide the base for that. That's the question. We know automation is already there in automobile industries and all that.
Even offices for that matter.
Yeah.
When we talk of automation, we normally think of everything which is mechanical in nature. However, what has happened is the definition of automation, the paradigm of automation, is not only restricted to mechanical part or the mechanical domain. Artificial intelligence, for that matter, ever since it stepped into the realm of automation, has made it much bigger, and it has now come out of every process that we think of. Even if, for example, if I need to pick up a pen from a table, that used to be, there used to be a process called RPA, robotic process automation. So that has been now replaced with a lot of activities which can be done in different manners and which could be much more productive in terms of throughput. So lesser efforts, much work that can be drawn out of it is the beauty of automation. And how artificial intelligence has gotten into it is a small example of a lot of things that we do in our lives. For example, our lifts, for that matter, our elevators, for that matter. So at places, what happens is when you get into a lift, you press a button. So I know examples of the community. There's a community, the Jewish community, on Saturdays, and they do not operate any mechanical instrument. So what happens is, what I've seen was, when I was in the US, I saw that there were panels where people used to go and speak that I need to go to this lift, this level, and the lift would open up, lift would run. So these are examples of how artificial intelligence has gotten into automation. There are heaps of such examples where automation is no longer just confined to the mechanical part of that we used to think about. It's gone beyond, as I said, beyond the robotic process automation. And this is the beauty of artificial intelligence, how this has gotten into it. So the processes of on the basis of all these efforts that have been done are then coded, and the machines are trained accordingly, so that those machines then run the processes. So in order to enable a machine, to train the machine, all those thoughts, ideas, processes that are required are now being coded. And in order to do so, a lot of mathematics is involved into it. A lot of discrete structures are involved into it. Discrete mathematics is involved into it, which then lays the basis of writing statistical rules that are then converted to help machine understand what you want to get it done from it.
Sorry to interject, but a common mind like me is now curious to know. If I try to analyze your statement, it leads me to believe that the mechanical side of technology, or say the chemical side of technology, is now, what is its percentage reducing? Because when I look at a machine, even an intelligent machine, of course it will also need requisite parts that
Absolutely.
match up with the...
Absolutely. And in that case, I think there are a lot of examples that we see. Now, there's a lot of 3D printing happening, all that we see. These are all outcome of artificial intelligence. These are all outcome of the developments that are happening in this,
And they are mechanically superior also.
superior as well. And what is also happening is automation, as I said, is no longer confined to the definition of automation. From mechanical has moved to process. So anything that you do, the processes are getting more and more automated, right? If I plan my trip to any place, if I use artificial intelligence, it will then work out everything. It will bring in factors of weather, climate, that you need not go there at this point in time. If you were to go there, this is the route that you need to take. And in that case, if you need to take that route, because your aim is to reach a place with lesser time and lesser efforts, and in order to do so, what automation can you bring into your process to reach from...
Currently we have GPS, which shows a traffic jam with a red color.
Right. Over a period of time, we anticipate that GPS would get replaced by your thought process. You'll have a sort of what we call as telepathy would get to that
Some assisted thought process.
assisted thought process.
There is a one more interconnected question to that, where generally we say the IoT, Internet of Things. What you said, like the automation.
Absolutely.
How you can correlate both these points in way, like how it is more diversified as compared to when we talk about the automation?
This is a very good question and a very relevant and a very linked question to the one that you asked earlier. IoT, Internet of Things, is something where you use, machines are assisted by artificial intelligence, are assisted by the so-called network of communication systems that you have. So, for example, in farming, IoT plays a great deal of role into it, where your farming gets supported by a lot of factors that are required for it, and for that matter,
May I
Sure.
interrupt for a very valid reason? I suddenly am confused. If there is internet, then what is Internet of Things? I mean, linguistically, it has confused me all the time. I'm sure my young friends also.
Yeah,
We
yeah.
already have the internet, so why Internet of Things?
Internet of Things, very right and very relevant in a sense. It connects, internet or with lot of devices.
Oh, okay.
So when you connect those devices with internet, and you the chain of commands that are run through internet is nothing but a connection of 2 or 3 computers together. So that forms a local area network, then you have a wide area network, and so forth. Internet is the most widest area of network. So if devices are attached to and such a network through which, while you're sitting 100 miles away, you can connect and tell and send and operate a machine, is an example of Internet
So
of Things.
applied internet in a way?
Applied internet, applied artificial intelligence,
Okay.
and getting operations done when a doctor is sitting at a different place, and there are machines, there are robots operating, and the doctor is commanding all the decisions and all the movement of how to cut a certain thing, what to not to do, what to stitch, and all that is being done through remotely, is a great example of Internet of Things.
If I say like internet is enabler for all the processes which
Absolutely,
you would like to do, it
absolutely.
will be the skeleton or the
Beautiful,
base,
yeah.
backbone of internet.
There's another question, Tyagiji. If you permit, I would like to touch upon that question.
Yeah.
It's about, of course, the same subject. Why is artificial intelligence called the fourth industrial revolution? I mean, have we already asked this question to...
It was there, but it was not. The answer was not given in a, you can say, specific way. It was, the entire episode was based on that. Why we are calling it a fourth industrial revolution? In the sense, like after the IT revolution, this is the next revolution, and a revolution means which is touching upon each and every aspect of your life.
Correct.
Like when we had this IT revolution or the mobile revolution, now every our lifestyle has changed. We cannot think of ourselves without a mobile phone. So same way now the AI will be forming the basis for everything.
So is this an announcement that has been made? How has this phrase come up? The fourth industrial revolution. Is there a story behind it?
Right.
Yeah.
So we all know that industrial revolution has had its first industrial revolution, second revolution, third revolution, and the fourth revolution. In fact, it would not be an exaggeration if you look at the content that is available. Industrial Revolution 5.0 is knocking the doors of Industrial Revolution 4.0. It's about to push Industrial Revolution 4.0 out and move into 5.0. The difference between the two would be that, of course, computers and information technology, mobile telephony and everything dominated Industrial Revolution 4.0, but artificial intelligence has taken all of this much beyond into the cognitive part of it. As a result, ever since the machines become smarter, as a result machines get those so-called brains to work, that would actually open up the doors of Industrial Revolution 5.0. So why is it called 4.0? Is because it's a complete paradigm shift from 3.0 to 4.0. In a sense, it has automated a lot of things, but now automation has become it used to be a subjective term, but it has now become very quantitative and very qualitative side by side, which is where the degree of smartness of machines has become the basis of the different revolutions that we talk of. So 5.0, as we talk about, has started knocking the doors of 4.0, and we all expect artificial intelligence to make our machines so intelligent that I guess otherwise our lives have become much more simpler, easier.
Yeah. I mean, this concept was given by World Economic Forum in 2016, considering its contribution into the world economy, the AI factor in the world economy. So they say it's going to be the fourth industrial revolution.
We don't have much time for more questions, but quickly, if we could refer to the role of artificial intelligence in language processing and whether it is related to the wonderful world of speech recognition. So that there, Nakulji could.
I would be very happy to do so because I've been associated with a number of such projects in my past lives. When I say past lives, in my past places where I worked, and particularly one of the organizations that I worked for really worked on optical character recognition. And OCRs that we all know have a limitation, and we could only read if that is type scripted language, but anything that is handwritten has been a challenge because there are so many human beings, there are so many style differences. How I would write and how you would write would differ. And within me myself, if I would choose not to write in a slant cursive, I would like to write in blocks, or I would like to write in a separated manner, would be different. So it becomes very difficult, very challenging. And for that, it is very important to have a very, very strong repository of so many samples that a machine, when it is trained, can easily work through, identify and pull it back. And when we do so, it also becomes very interesting to understand and know that how important is the computing power of the machine as well. And for that matter, the trends in semiconductors, the trends in the so-called materials that are coming up is also at the same pace, because if they don't keep a pace with the artificial intelligence, the machines are less fast computing and your thought process and your artificial intelligence, so there is a lag. So scientists and technocrats, both in material science and in artificial intelligence, are working shoulder to shoulder, day and night, to get you the latest and the fastest of all your aspirations that you might have with regards to artificial intelligence. And that is the beauty of how we all perceive life is gonna be.
Before we wind up, I'd like to just mention something which is in sharp contrast to artificial intelligence. But then again, Nakulji can look at it the other way also. That a 14-year-old girl called Navshri Thakur, she stays at Piparia in Madhya Pradesh.
Yes.
She has won the Inspire Award for making a contraption, let me call it a contraption of, wooden sticks and other things to help her mother perform her household chores more easily.
Wow, that's
So-
great.
I think few days back in Bhopal, we actually honored that girl. Yes, because and this was a reminder again to that proverb that your pratibha ko sansadhano ki zarurat nahi hai. You don't require that
Your
kind of thing.
talent doesn't
Yes,
need
this is a
resources.
family below poverty line. Mother, father, both are laborer, and the girl is still they don't have even a toilet. Recently, it has been built up, and but only the idea in the minds of that girl was Navshri Thakur. The mother used to go early for the work, and at same time she has to make that breakfast for the girl. So she designed a machine, a system. It is a beautiful thing which has been now taken over by NIF, and now they are trying to improve the design, which will be I think available in the market as a product. So the again, like the necessity is the mother of invention or discovery. That has Navshri has proven that. It was
So,
a wonderful experience. of
Short
making
round
her.
of applause for Navashri.
Yes.
And I hope she'll do better with and more with times to come.
Right.
Gentlemen, Dr. Nakul Parashar, Dr. B.K. Tyagi, and of course I am Manoj Mindkar, the ever curious moderator. Thank you very much for sparing time for listeners of All India Radio. Thank you.
Thank you very
Thank
much.
you. Thank you.
Thank you.
You were listening to the 19th episode of the science serial Welcome Tomorrow. In this special episode, you were listening to an interaction with Dr. Nakul Parashar and Dr. Birendra Kumar Tyagi. Talking to them was Manoj Menkar. We will be back with our next episode, same time, same day next week. This broadcast came to you from All India Radio, Delhi.